Shoot, it's cold out here today, folks. We got a great video for you today, several things, and if you stick around at the end, I'm going to give you a quick teaser on the number that we achieved gross sales this year, and a video on that's coming up soon. But check this out. Happy New Year, folks. Look at this. Snow on the ground, getting ready to go in Goodwill. It's rusty, just in case you're wondering. Hoping to find some treasures today, folks. It's a new year. A lot of hope, a lot of expectation. We hit our sales goals this last year. We're hoping to do even better this year. Let's see what we might find. Here are a couple of things, guys, I came across. Some smaller and insignificant in comparison to the others. But first off, you got this little keychain here. It says on the back, Titanic, dedicated to happy. I don't know why it says dedicated to happy. It was not a happy time for the voyagers on this fateful voyage of this ship. But here's a little keychain to commemorate it. It cost me 50 cents. They're selling on eBay for $8. Right here we have a bunch of buttons, and on the back they just look like basic kind of rough gold tone buttons. But if you look on the very back here, see if I can flip her around so you can see it. Right there, it says Chanel. Chanel. There are 5 buttons here. They're Coco Chanel buttons. These are selling for $30 to $40. This is not the typical Chanel logo with the 2 C's crossed together, but there are ones out there that have 4-leaf clovers. It's almost like a good luck thing here. I picked that up for $1. And this I got for $3.99. It is pink. It's what they call depression glass. And this particular one, I believe, is actually a copy. It's a remake of original stuff in what they call a recollection collections, where you're thinking about the past. This would be for like a serving thing, like a butter dish or something like that. It's got a nice little dome on it. It's pink. This stuff, guys, there's a big collector market. You can see that pink color when I pull it over here. Really pretty. This went out of fashion for quite a while, but just like anything that hits that 100 mark, once it's been 100 years old, the popularity jumps up. Folks, if you're reselling or you're trying to get ahead of the game, you need to look at the stuff that was popular in the 1930s. And the reason for that is that typically stuff that is 100 years old tends to jump up in popularity. Keep a lookout for that. Even though that this is probably not an original, it's still worth $20 to $25, and I just paid $3.99 for it. As I predicted, folks, in the month of January, you really start to see some really good deals of stuff that people have brought in to donate because they got new, nicer stuff, and they're out with the old. This is not a great example, but I did find this. I thought it was interesting. It is a Lego brand watch. You've probably heard of Lego. You maybe even have heard of Ninjago. This is a Lego Ninjago watch. It looks like Legos and colors and stuff. You can see this right here. It's kind of cool. I paid just 50 cents for this, and these things are selling for $20. Got some really nice items here today at one place. I was almost floored when I saw this, $25 for this Nikon camera. Let's open it up. As you can see, it comes with a lens. Here we got, looks like the AFS, it's a 35mm with a hood on here. And then the camera itself that already has its own lens on it. And the lens here is a, what do we got here? It's a 35mm. All right. So, not bad. This is not a brand new, obviously it's used. You can see it needs some cleaning up to be done here. We're going to look and see if we got a battery. There is no battery charger with this, unfortunately. So that's a kind of a downside here. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. All right, good. It does come with its own battery. All right, so that can be pulled out. Probably needs to be charged, probably not charged. But still good condition. This is not one that takes video. It's old enough that it does not do video, just photography. But for 25 bucks, guys, this with this other lens I could split this up and sell the lenses separately, individually, and then the body by itself, or I could sell these all in one lot. It sort of depends on whether or not I can get a cheap battery charger for this, and we'll go from there. Next up, guys, we got this lot of some train tracks with some Thomas the Train trains in here. They're scuffed, they're old, they're used, but I bought it because of those. $8. Let's see what we got in here. I love to get these mixed lots because what will happen, folks, is I'll end up taking out these little trains and I'll sell them either individually or as a little lot, and then I'll put these together with others that I have similarly to these. Got these nice little trains here, and these fit together, as you can see, just like this. With big items like this, and I got a tub right here completely full of these same things. Pull them out because I'm going to put these together with them. I like to sell these if I can locally, places like Facebook Marketplace, that kind of thing, maybe in the antique store that I sell at, because they're heavy and they're bulky, and I just don't like shipping big, heavy stuff like that. You know, so get these out of the way. Here are some little rail cars, ram car and llama car, and these are little magnetic ones. We got a couple there. This is the sheep car. All right, so these little suckers, you know, they all stick together. What do we have here? Well, here's a guy. It's Trevor. You can see they're kind of worn. They've definitely been played with, loved on by some kiddos, and that's just great. And now they're going to get a second life, maybe a third life, who knows, whenever someone else buys these. Again, these are magnetic on the ends. We got a zoo car here. Oh, goodness me. Look at that. That's fun. There's a monkey inside there eating a banana. Doggone it. And he's over here too. There's a couple of monkeys. Got some tigers and lions. Oh my goodness. Alright, looks like we got Thomas here. Regular Thomas. He's in better condition. He's the one that everyone knows. Thomas the Train, of course, is what we're talking about. Been around for a long time. Heavily scuffed up. This is a coal car, I'm assuming here. Donald's Tender. It's the tender for Donald. And man, it's scuffed. Holy business. It's been rubbed on quite a bit. Condition of these things, guys, is always better if they're in a better condition. Donald here, that was his tender, but it's you know, it's all scuffed on. Who we have here? Those of you who know Thomas, who is this? Well, it's Rosie. All right, Rosie. She's in good condition there. Up next is another Thomas. He's scuffed a little bit more. There's a way, guys, you can hear and know. I don't know. I'll have to do more research as far as like how old they are, right? Is this, I mean, assuming these aren't first edition or the first ones, but who do we got here? Toby, I believe is what that says. Toby, am I right on that? Number 7, not sure. It looks like it says Toby, but it's almost completely worn off. Are there any more cars in here, folks? Any more? Let's see. Nope, that's it. So what do we get here? We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars for $8. Less than $1 per car. I'll sell this lot for probably $20 to $30. I need to do research to know for sure. So definitely going to double, triple my money on that. Then when I add these in to my other big lot here, we'll see an even higher amount of money. And last up here, what we have is an Xbox 360. It says it's the console, model 1538. It has a power supply, HDMI cable, Xbox wireless controller. It powers on and it has video. So it's been, looks like tested. I'll test it a little bit more. I don't typically buy electronics, folks, because I've found in my experience that the time it takes to accurately and successfully test something, or find, you know, chargers or supply cables or things like that to make sure they work before you sell them, is not, like, the time it takes to do that, and sometimes the cost of getting extra pieces of equipment to make it all work is just not worth the time. But for $50 on an Xbox, it has all this together, and it looks like they've already powered it on and it works. I feel pretty confident. It's got this camo colored controller here. This is not like the brand new. It's a 360. You put in this model number, and these things are selling $100 to $150. So I knew by buying this I could double my money. I knew with the train cars I could triple my money, and I could double to triple my money on the Nikon camera. So all in all, I've spent, looks like it was $50 here, $25 for the camera, $75 plus $8. So $83, and I expect that I'm going to bring at least $100 of cash back into my pocket from these few things we bought just this morning. Let's take a quick break and hear a hot tip from none other than me, Rusty. Rusty's Hot Tips! Here's just a quick reminder, folks, if you're going to be getting into jewelry at all, there are a few essential things you need. None of these are that expensive. You can buy them all on Amazon from the convenience of your own, living room or bed, wherever. They are as follows. A little scale that can measure in grams and ounces. Very simple, very small. I can hold it in my hand. They make even smaller ones. You can travel with them if you want to. Another thing you'll want is some sort of cream to polish silver. This one's just called, it's the Wrights brand, Silver Cream. I bought this 2 years ago. I'm not even halfway through it yet, and I polish a lot of stuff. It lasts a long time. Over here, you got something called semi-chrome polish, and I use a toothbrush with stuff a lot of times just to test with silver. You can use a little rag or something, or a Q-tip with a semi-chrome polish, and this is to test for Bakelite, which is a very old and pretty valuable plastic form. You can look it up. Right here, actually, I'll move to this. This is a scratch plate, and you've got different liquids here to test for the different purities of metals like gold, silver, and platinum. I've got 10 karat, 14 karat, 18 karat, and 22 karat for gold. I've got one for silver, and I got one for platinum here. You basically scratch the metal on here, and then you drip a drip on that, and you see if it eats it. With the gold, you start at a certain purity, and then if it doesn't eat it, you work your way up until it does, and that will roughly tell you the purity of that metal. Over here, I have this, it doesn't matter the brand, but basically this is a clear fingernail polish. I use this whenever I have stones that have fallen out of costume jewelry like brooches or pendants and things. I just drip a little of that in with, depending on the size, a lot of times I'll use just a toothpick. Put that down in there, drop the stone in, and that can, it dries fairly quick, it dries clear, and it holds pretty solidly, so it's a good fix for that. And then finally, loops. I say finally, I got one more. Loops. These are just tiny little magnifying glasses, folks. This is the stuff that helps you look closely on clasps and things so you can know if it has a stamp or a mark of a manufacturer or a type of metal. Those are just a couple of different examples. And then the last thing here, guys, are magnets. Take magnets in with you when you're going to look at stuff in jewelry stores. A lot of times silver and gold, if it's silver or gold content or heavily silver or gold content, it will not be magnetic. That's about the first easy way to tell if you're dealing with a very, not valuable base metal or something a little bit nicer. This is the arsenal you need to be testing, polishing, repairing most everything you might come across. Once again, go into these places locally that don't either have the time or the know-how to properly evaluate this. And so it's a good time to do a refresher, folks. You need to know what to do when you're looking at jewelry. If you're interested in buying and selling jewelry at all, and I'm not talking about just fine jewelry, but costume jewelry, it's important to know what to do, okay? Let's just take a few of these pieces here, and I'll give you a little refresher. So we got some rings. This looks kind of old and dingy and kind of scuffed. Right, even on the inside, it just looks rough. It's also one of these movable, so you can, it's not all the way soldered together, so it could, change based on the size of your finger. That's usually a very bad sign that it's not real high quality. But on the inside here, let's see if I can zoom in. It actually says 925, which is for sterling silver. This is a sterling silver ring. It's very tiny. It doesn't weigh very much. It's not all that valuable. But for the price I'm getting this stuff at, 50 cents for something like that, it's still worth it. This right here is also sterling silver, although you can't tell because it's kind of yellowed. But that's just tarnish. Again, if you look on the inside underneath there, it says 925, and this has a piece of onyx in the top of it there as well. This right here just looks like a little old kid's ring. Again, it's not soldered together, so it seems like it might not be worth anything. But on the inside, right there in the center, if you were to zoom in real close or use a loop, it says 10 karat gold. And right here on this little heart section in the middle is a tiny little shiny stone. And on the inside, if you look real close, there's a hole in the back. That's allowing light through because that is a diamond, folks. So you got a 10 karat gold ring with a diamond in it. Not that impressive, but it is definitely, you know, diamonds and gold are valuable things. This is a very nice looking, encrusted with stones all around it. Stones, very large for a women's hand. This is probably size 8 or 8.5. These are not diamonds. I tested them, and this is not even sterling silver, although I think it is silver coated. And so this is not going to sell for a ton, but it is good. It is a good looking ring, and I can put that in, say, a high-end costume jewelry lot, and that will look pretty nice. Moving on, I'll save this one to the end because that's the most interesting. Here, it's just a sterling silver little bracelet, as you can see right there. And on the ends here, if you look closely on the clasp, it does say 925. Same thing on this one. This is sterling silver. It's quite a bit heavier, and it's got little onyx in it as well. Right here where my thumbnail is at, in a tiny little stamp on this little spot that opens up and down. You might not even know to look there, but it does say 925. It's got a circle around it. And then, where was it? It was underneath the one. Yeah, at the very end here, much larger stamp. It's very obvious here. Look at that, 925. And it has some sort of writing on there that looks like other characters. It looks like possibly something from the Middle East, some sort of Middle Eastern language there. So pretty obvious. That was just hanging on a stand for $1.50 with other costume jewelry, but it's made. I mean, this is probably, I don't know. Let's see. I didn't plan on doing this, but since we're talking about it, let me just pull this out. This is just a little scale. You can buy these on Amazon. They're real. They're not that expensive. You can do ounces or grams or whatever else, but I'll just put grams on here. Okay, so this is 16 grams, and usually I get about 75% of the number of the grams. So if it's 100 grams, usually I get about $75 for that. In this case, 50% would be $8. So we're looking at probably around $11, $12, $13 if I was just selling this for weight. And again, I paid $1.50 for it because it's a nice quality. I'll polish it up. It's got nice onyx stone in there, and it's functional. It'll sell for more than that, I believe. The last two I wanted to show you is this little necklace. It just has some little blue stones, little blue, they're just plastic, okay? And just to look at this, it looks just very basic and plain, but it doesn't get much more obvious than this, guys. It's got a little hanging tag here that says RL on one side, and it says 925. Well, doggone yes. Right there. Can you see it? There it is, 925. So it's a sterling silver necklace. Pretty easy. $1.50. It was just on a rack with other costume jewelry. Guys, always look around the clasp. Look on the backs of pendants, things like that. Then you got this right here. This little pendant here. It's a blue marlin jumping out of some waves. But let me show you the most interesting part. Well, first off, before I get to the pendant, by looking with a loop on the clasp, it says the word sterling. So I already know it's made of silver. Then I look at this coin. It looks like silver. This was very popular in the 60s and 70s to etch out coins and make pendants and pieces of jewelry out of them. And so I figured it was probably from the 60s or 70s, something like that. On the back here, you can see the remnants of this side of the coin. You've got a face of a woman who's facing to the right. That's an indication that this is not an American coin. Most of the American coins who feature women on them, it's a profile of the person and they're facing to the left. And almost all of them with women are facing to the left. Otherwise, it's a woman, other than women who are like standing up and it's a full body. But if we're talking profile, they're usually turned to the left. To the right is more common with like Canada or England or colonies. And so what this looked like was a woman with hair, possibly wearing a crown. She's got like her shoulder there, and then right here you've got the letters NDS with a little letter behind it. I can tell that it's a coin by the etching on the edge. It looks like a silver coin. It's roughly the size of what a dollar would be in a lot of currencies. And I thought this had to be maybe a part of the coin itself too, because it's not etched too deeply on this side. So I thought, okay, what kind of coin has a blue marlin who has a woman with a profile facing to the right on it. I did some research. It took me a bit, but the NDS is the end of the word islands. This is a Bahama Islands dollar coin from roughly the late 60s. Possibly early 70s, but it's also made of silver. And so for $4, that's going to be a pretty good turnaround, even though this is not in vogue. This is not the fashion anymore to be wearing etched out coins as much. There is silver content in it. I'll probably take this pendant off and save the necklace itself to put a more valuable sterling silver or more attractive, more current type of a fashion pendant on, so that I can maximize the value on that as well. Oh, you're still here. Well, thanks. I guess this one's over. Stay tuned for the next one. Let's go find some